Good morning, and welcome to this service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. My name is Helen O'Brien, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Our two ministers are here this morning, the Reverend Bethany Russell and Reverend Jamili Omar. And as we gather here, I want to ask you to remember that we are meeting on the unceded lands of the Atam, the Yaqui, the Yavapai, the Apache, and other ancestral peoples. This is getting serious. COVID is now endemic in our community. We do not ask that you wear masks here in service or in religious education, but you are, of course, invited to wear a mask anytime that makes you more comfortable. And if you are feeling sick, we hope that you will join us on YouTube on our simulcast. We also encourage everyone to remain as vaccinated as they can be. There are two gender-specific restrooms in the foyer and an accessible gender-neutral restroom in the alcove behind the audiovisual desk. As we move more deeply into the sacred space of worship, let us remember our community is striving to become as varied as the blooms of the Sonoran Desert. We are glad that you are here. Whoever you are, whoever you have been, and whoever you are becoming, I invite you to bring your whole self here, now.
Good morning. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Reverend Bethany Russell Lowe, and I am your lead minister. I serve alongside Reverend Jamili Omar, and I'm smiling because that's the first time I've said that right. Right, front row? Thank you. Our words for call to worship this morning come from Reverend Sherry Woodbury. Out of the din of the city,
away from the noise of the crowds,
we come. To rest in this moment,
in this place,
set apart from the never-ending to-do lists,
embracing the seventh day, a day of rest.
We come to the warmth and stillness
of this sacred hour.
Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here now.
Whatever tasks and cares await you, now for this brief time, simply rest.
Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside.
As you come home to yourself, holy and whole, come, let us worship together. Our words for chalice lighting come from Lee Kinvey. They write, "This chalice is for the living, the changing, the becoming. This chalice is for losing the script of your life, the chapter about who you are in other people's stories. This chalice is for the lost GPS that was supposed to show you how to get where they expected you to go. This chalice is for the skipping the directions, coloring outside the lines, painting not by number but by silence, by wild abandon with a brush you made yourself, from light deep inside. Startling, vivid, a new voice that already knows you. Finally, a true story." Now, if you are joining us on YouTube and have a chalice or candle nearby, please light it with us now as we light our chalice here in Holland.
Louis Untermeyer's poem, Prayer for This House, in the 19th century was about as popular as little signs that say, live, love, laugh, and say an Airbnb today. We'll be singing a setting of that because when it was set to music, it quickly became a staple in many hymnals, starting with the Methodist hymnal and then many others thereafter. Please rise as you are able and sing, "May nothing evil cross this door," a prayer for this house. May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never cry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. Thus far through all the world grow chill will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter down the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep paid out and hold love in.
Our earth is strong. It can hold our pain and our joy, our love and our anger. Our shared bowl, which we use for joys and sorrows each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks, our collective joys, celebrations, and mourning, and also the smaller stones that will be added to signify our individual joys and sorrows. We who live in the desert know that water is a life-sustaining and scarce resource. Let's remember those who are walking through our desert right now without access to water. We also bring to mind those who are seeking to provide access to water in the desert as we pour water from a plastic jug similar to the ones used by our ministry partner, No More Deaths. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share aloud, I invite you to go to menti.com on your device and put in the code 83527816. If you're here in the sanctuary, do I see Brian? There he is, okay. And want assistance to put your thoughts up on menti.com, Brian Moon can help you do that. I invite those of you here in the sanctuary to come up to the table and create ripples of hope by putting a stone into the water to symbolize your joy or sorrow.
Thank you for taking the time you needed this morning. Thank you for the tears, for letting your grief swell. I'm feeling it in this space. I have 2 items in our community care corner before I read our mentee. As many of you heard, but I'll announce out loud, J.D. Garcia died early on Monday morning, and we'll miss him. His celebration of life will be on Sunday, November 3rd. We're still working on the time, but we'll let you know. Margot and Athena are here today, and they'd appreciate texts and visits. I'm feeling that grief too, friends. And also, Bo Ongli's celebration of life will be on Saturday, November 9th at noon, right here. There will be a lunch and a song circle in his memory afterwards. So join us for both of those celebrations of life, too. And our mentee. Joy and gratitude for our inaugural acoustic worship on Friday evening. What a lovely way to close the week. Yes, join us next 3rd Friday. Much sorrow for the loss of my last living aunt, a happy and always joyful dancing aunt, Tete, Teresa, Nico, Dimo, Miriam. Celebrating the life of Bo Ongli and J.D. Garcia. Yes, we are. Heart is heavy, a friend in need, and trying to find the right way forward. Oh, we all have friends like that sometimes. Nice to connect with some old friends this past week. My father-in-law is back in the hospital. We miss him at home and hope for a recovery. Remembering JD and a life well lived, and holding Margot, Athena, and family in love. And can you scroll down, AV team? And thinking of the children and people of Gaza, as so many of us are. I invite you to take a deep breath, get grounded, put your body and your spirit in a posture of prayer, meditation, contemplation, whatever that feels like for you this morning. Our words of prayer this morning come from Reverend D.L. Helfer. They write, Spirit of all that moves among us and through us, as elections near, help us let love lead. Help us recognize that polarization can also be understood as passion. Passion to build something better that holds all of us at the center. Help us to imagine and to foster a world in which we listen more than we talk, where our priority is to learn as much as we teach. A world in which we find ways to connect across the chasms of difference, making space for revelation to emerge. Spirit of love, help us turn towards love with the world, with each other, with ourselves, all the same thing at its core. Let us extend grace within our movements and between our movements, less sure, more curious, wondering together what is possible. Spirit of all that is open and hopeful, guide us towards building a larger tent, not solely Republican or Democrat, independent or uncommitted. Let us learn too from our ancestors, from generational pain and generational survival and the movements of generations, building across difference something better, larger, more encompassing that can hold us all. Let us not be just flags, potent that they are in declaring our beliefs, and yet impeding our ability to recognize humanity across difference. Spirit of hope, Spirit of all that is yet possible, lead us away from the false separation that the only truth is ours, that anything less is incomplete. Lead us instead into the discomfort of learning from youth, young adults, activists, elders, those we cherish, those we find wanting. Lead us to the love that holds us all and is with us always. The love that can help us through the messy and necessary life-altering work of building movements across belief, across difference, for change that can endure. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen to the choir. Thank you, thank you. I will be reading Reverend Megan Foley's homily, More Than a Bike, as the sermon this morning. Thank you, Reverend Megan, for making your words available for me to read. You know how when you're a kid and it's close to Christmas and adults don't really know what to talk to you about, and they ask, "So what do you hope to get for Christmas this year?" This is actually a good question to ask a kid who celebrates Christmas, because they're almost always bursting with ideas of things they'd love to have. My son, for example, used to create a 3-page list, single-spaced, full of stuff that I couldn't even pronounce. So it's generally a safe bet, if you don't know a kid very well, to make conversation by asking what they hope for under the tree. But one year when I was about 9, I couldn't think of what I wanted for Christmas. At least not the one-word answer that adults seem to want. In fact, what I really wanted that year couldn't be put under a tree at all. I wanted to be treated like an adult. Unfortunately for me, my parents thought that was sort of ridiculous. This was all just too difficult to explain to outsiders. So I made up an answer. When adults asked me what I wanted for Christmas that year, I told them I wanted a bike. Not because I wanted a bike, mind you, just so I wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. What happened next might not come as a surprise to you. On Christmas morning, I woke up and came down to the tree where there was a new, pretty yellow bicycle for me. It was a good present overall, and I was a lucky girl to get it. The thing was, I didn't know I would get a bike because I hadn't really wanted one. And yet I was telling people I wanted a bike, acting as if I did want one, and I guess my parents overheard or asked someone what I'd said, and in that Christmas mystery that happens for children and adults alike, I ended up with a bike. It wasn't bad for sure, but it wasn't what I intended, because I was asking for something that fit within what other people expected to hear, and not for something I wanted from my own heart. When I think back to that time, I resolved to do a couple of things, not just around Christmas time, but in my everyday life. First, I'm careful about what I ask for. You might think I'm still talking about the stuff you might find under a Christmas tree, but I'm talking about bigger stuff, the things I want out of my life. What I am saying to people who ask me and what I want in my life, not just for Christmas. Am I asking for that which seems normal, even though it doesn't reflect a real me? Am I taking the easy way out of the conversation? This is important because you never know who's paying attention. You don't in life want to be asking for something you don't really want because there's a chance you might get it. There are plenty of voices in the world, for example, telling you how to live your life the quote-unquote right way, telling you what makes for success and what makes for happiness. Will you agree just because it's easier to? What will happen if you ask for the wrong thing and then you get it? The other lesson I learned is that the things that you announce that you want have a way of finding you. If your heart is longing for something that seems silly or impossible, and you can't imagine how you could possibly see that wish into reality, then it will help, I promise you, it will help if you start telling yourself and other people what you're hoping for. You don't have to know how it will work out first. You probably won't say, I want a bike, but you may say something like, I want more time with my kids. I want more time with my parents. I want to forgive my father. I want to get along with my sister. I want to live my life more simply. I wish I had more free time to just play. I want to devote my life to a cause I've come to believe in. I want to tell my parents that the only subject I like in school is art. I want to do that work that has always called me, even though I've got education and experience doing something else. Say it. Just start saying it and see what happens for you. It might not come the way you expect it, but I believe that wishes of the heart are answered one way or another. Try it and see what happens for you. Bikes that are asked for do have a way of appearing under Christmas trees. Make sure, both at Christmas time and in other times, that you ask for that which you really want. You may be very surprised one morning at what you find under your tree and in your life. Big gratitude to Reverend Megan Foley for making her words available for me to use this week. And I'm now turning words over to you to take Reverend Megan's invitation and consider something you really want. Not the bike, but the thing you hesitate or maybe even feel some fear, some anxiety, some worry to ask for. I invite you to think about that thing you really, 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 really want. So start with thinking about what you really want, and then sink a layer in, and in again, and in again. And after you've sunk a little bit with that seed of an idea, I invite you to turn to a neighbor, one you know well, one you don't know well. You make the choice. And speak out loud what you really want, or what you really, really, really want, if they're that kind of neighbor. You decide the level of vulnerability you are wanting to have witness today. And when you hear our choir and Brian Moon singing, that's your cue to come back and sing with us. Turn to a neighbor, friends. What do you really want?
All together on that verse. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within. Sing to the power of the hope within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing to the power of the love within. Sing to the power of the love within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within. Now let us sing. Sing, sing. Now let us sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the joy within.
One Sunday each month is designated as a Share the Plate Sunday, where we give half of the non-pledge collection to the community organization whose mission we support. Generosity is a spiritual practice, and Share the Plate is an expression of their mission. Southern Arizona's Senior Pride is our Share the Plate recipient this morning, and Mary O'Donoghue, good, is going to tell us about it. I didn't have it in writing this morning.
Well, you're gifted with O'Brien and O'Donoghue, so I'm sure this won't go long. Thank you very much for inviting Senior Pride to come and speak with you today. I know that we have, there are members of your congregation that are also very active participants with Senior Pride and may also be advocates on our behalf here, so we appreciate that. Also appreciate being in such a welcoming community, so thank you. So Senior Pride is I would describe as a small but very much a mighty and growing nonprofit, kind of emerging out of a grassroots stage. We are commemorating 20 years of programming this year, which is very significant. Senior Pride started in 2004 as a program to reduce isolation, encourage social connection for older LGBTQ adults in the Tucson area. And it existed under Wingspan, which was the LGBTQ community center. Very typical for a program serving older LGBTQ adults to exist under some type of organization like a community center. When the community center closed in 2014, very dedicated and still very active volunteers nestled the program under Southern Arizona AIDS Foundation as a fiscal sponsor. And so it existed in that, under that organization for some time and continued to celebrate Unite and support older LGBTQ adults with the, again, with the intention of reducing isolation, improving social programming that impacted those lives. Really recognizing that there is a greater need and a bigger calling for than the program to become its own organization, its own nonprofit. These very dedicated and committed volunteers and leaders pulled that program out from under SAFE, where it had been operating independently, and established it as its very own nonprofit. And in 2023, very boldly, I might say, hired its very first executive director. And I say boldly because it really took that type of courage and vision to create a nonprofit that is well recognized and supported, but still needed to grow quite a bit of infrastructure underneath it. And also to recognize that there are very few nonprofits, organizations that just serve older LGBTQ adults. So I come to you with that message that that is our sole focus. And it is a very growing and expansive mission, to be quite honest. Trying to just manage the growth. In the last year, we saw a 32% increase in participation, which reflects interest, but also very much our needs of the organization. So I like to talk about Senior Pride and how we're kind of structured, if you will, under kind of two areas. One is social programming, and that is in the areas of arts and culture, because we like to recognize and celebrate our own history and our own artists and authors that exist in our community, as well as we have social and learning programs, and we bring that into our community, whether it's a writing workshop or a Medicare enrollment information session, and those types of offerings, as well as health and well-being, and that is to address the aging issues and topics for older LGBTQ adults. And so we do partner with other organizations in very collaborative relationships with Pima Council on Aging and SAFE and TIHON and just a plethora of good folks. And so also as to not to duplicate what we have to offer, but to partner. And we are definitely stronger together, and that is really where we come from with that. Where we see ourselves growing, in addition to those offerings, is in our areas of supportive services. And we really have three areas, and that is in offering grief and loss groups, for older LGBTQ adults and their allies and their younger caregivers. And it's not just the grief of loved ones, it's also processing loss as we transition and aging, and to offer support around that. We also have advanced medical care planning, where we help our constituents be mindful in planning for the future. And probably a flagship or program and offering that we have that is really growing is our Community Cares program, and that is where we match volunteers with older LGBTQ adults that reside in the community independently, but also, and very importantly, those that reside in facilities or care facilities. The feedback that we consistently get and the request that we've had from Pima Council on Aging is to offer connection. So we have folks that go and visit and offer companionship, as well as being able to provide transportation to join their LGBTQ community and our activities that we offer. That is a very growing program. We offer the friendly visits and phone calls. We also are expanding it just this year to offer light housekeeping and yard work and home maintenance, pet care, and caregiver relief. Just knowing that those needs are very significant in our community, and we've added in as well as transportation to medical appointments, to grocery store, and to run errands. So these are the topics and needs that are impacting aging adults in general, but to be able to reach out and help older adults to age independently, reside in their homes for as long as they wish and care to collaborate with our community partners to provide that support. These are just some of the offerings that we're providing at Senior Pride. We recognize that Pride is ageless, and so we are definitely here to celebrate that, and we appreciate being invited here to speak with you today. We will be in your fellowship hall afterwards and able to talk one-on-one, and we have some information about our programming should you or someone you know might have an interest or need. So thank you very much.
So today, half of all cash donations and half of the amount of checks made out to UUCT that have Share the Plate written on the memo line will go to the Southern Arizona Senior Pride. If you're joining us virtually, you can send a check to the church office with Share the Plate in the memo, or give online at uuctucson.org/donate. And if you give online, be sure to indicate that your donation is for Share the Plate.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Gordon Weeks, and I am proud to be the president of this amazing congregation. Thank you. I want to first invite everyone to social hour after the service in Goddard Hall, which is out those double doors behind you to your left. There will be coffee, iced tea, lemonade, snacks, and good company. Social hour refreshments are free for all, and donations are appreciated to cover the costs. We are also serving lunch today. I understand it will be enchilada casserole, and I believe we're asking for a $5 donation for the lunch. But anyone who's new to UUCT and has not had your free lunch yet, lunch is on us. If you're new and want to stay in touch with us, you can fill out a guest information card in the Welcome Center in Goddard Hall, and you can also find a virtual guest information card on the newcomers section of our website. We do have some announcements this morning. First, iconic singer, songwriter, and voice for change, and composer of We Are a Gentle, Angry People, Holly Neer, will perform at UUCT at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, November 21st. Information on credit card ticket sales will be out this week in the e-blast, and it's on the website now. There will probably be tickets available for check or cash after church on November 10th and 17th. And there will also be sales at the door only if tickets remain. So please tell your friends. And on Friday evenings, we have events here at the church every Friday evening. So this upcoming Friday is Friday Fun Night. Join us for games and fellowship at 6 p.m. in Servetus. And if you'd like, you can come at 5:15 to have dinner. You can chip in for a group pizza order or bring your own. And if you can't make it to game night, join us next month or for an upcoming Friday. First Friday, we have film night. Second Friday is open mic night. Third Friday is acoustic worship. We had our first one this week. It was amazing. It was small. We want it to grow because it's awesome. And then fourth Friday is game night. And finally, as many of you know, No More Deaths is a humanitarian organization dedicated to stopping the death of migrants in the desert through placing water jugs, first aid, and other life-saving support. UUCT has been the organization's fiscal sponsor for the past 16 years. And on Friday, the Board of Trustees shared a letter with No More Deaths and our congregation that begins as follows. It is with regret that the UUCT Board of Trustees has decided that we are not able to continue as the fiscal sponsor for No More Deaths beyond this current fiscal year, ending June 30th, 2025. We came to this decision after careful review over a number of months. No More Deaths as an organization has grown exponentially since we became its fiscal sponsor in 2008. As No More Deaths has grown, the responsibilities of fiscal sponsorship have required increasing time and support from the lead minister, the Board of Trustees, and the administrator. No More Deaths is 3 times the size of UUCT in terms of personnel and finances. As a smaller organization, we do not have the capacity to responsibly manage the duties and assume the liability of fiscal sponsorship while also maintaining the health of our own organization. Taking these factors into consideration, we are unable to continue to assume liability for No More Deaths personnel, property, and financial assets beyond the end of our current fiscal year. Your Board of Trustees will be holding 2 listening sessions to hear your thoughts and responses to this announcement. The first is today at 12 p.m. right here in the sanctuary, and there will also be a Zoom listening session on Thursday at 7 p.m. Details were in the email this past Friday, and they'll also be in the Wednesday e-blast for the Zoom. If you have not yet read the letter, we will be reading the full letter at the beginning of both listening sessions. So we look forward to seeing you at one of the listening sessions if you have any questions, concerns, or reflections. Thank you.
I'm so grateful for our long time with No More Deaths, and now would you join in your voices and sing this gratitude song. We are grateful for the sun and moon, the sea and earth, for living things that all have worth, for desert ground and sky of blue, and grateful to be sharing it with you.
This is a story about a witch and her friends and how there should always be room on the broom. The witch had a cat and a hat that was black and long ginger hair in a braid down her back.
And how I did grin as we sat on the broomstick and we flew with the wind.
But how the witch wailed.
Ow!
And how the cat sure spat. When the wind blew so wildly, it blew off the hat.
Oh! Down, I cried, as we flew to the ground. We searched for the hat. Help me, cat. Where's that hat? But no hat could be found.
Then out of the bushes with thundering paws, there bounded a dog with the hat in his jaws. Dog dropped it.
I am a dog, as lean as can be. Is there any room on a broom for a dog like me?
Yes! I cried. And the dog clambered on. I tapped the broomstick and whoosh! We were gone.
Over the fields and the forest they flew. Dog wagged their tail, and the stormy wind blew. The witch laughed out loud and held on to her hat. But away blew the bow from her braid, just like that.
Down, I cried as we flew to the ground. We all searched for the bow, but no bow could be found.
Then, out from a tree with an ear-splitting shriek, there flapped a green bird with a bow in their beak. Bird dropped it politely and bent their head low, then said as the witch tied her braid in the bow,
I am a bird, as green as can be. Is there any room on the broom for a bird like me?
Yes, I responded. So the bird fluttered on. I tapped on the broomstick and whoosh, we were gone.
Over the reeds and the rivers they flew. Birds shrieked with glee, and the stormy wind blew. They shot through the sky to the back of beyond. The witch clutched her bow, but let go of her wand.
Oh no! Oh.
They searched for their wand, but no wand could be found. Then all of a sudden, from out of the pond, leaped a dripping wet frog with a dripping wet wand.
Oh goodness.
Frog dropped it politely, then said with a croak, as the witch dried the wand on a fold of her cloak,
I am a frog, as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for a frog like me?
Yes! I responded, so the frog bounded on. They secured all the things. Out in the storm. And whoosh! We were gone.
over the moors and the mountains they flew. Witch jumped for joy, and the broom snapped in two.
Oh no!
Down fell the cat and the dog and the frog. Down they went tumbling into a bog. The witch's half broomstick flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud.
Oh no! Oh dear!
I have a dragon as meat to be, and a witch with French fries tastes delicious to me.
Oh no! I cried, flying higher and higher, but that dragon flew after me. Help! I cried, and I flew to the ground. I looked around and around, but help! No help could be found.
Just this one talk, I'll have witch without French fries.
But just as dragon planned to begin on the feast, from out of a ditch rose a horrible beast. It was tall, dark, and sticky, and feathered and furred. It had 4 frightful heads. It had wings like a bird. And its terrible voice, when it started to speak, was a yowl and a growl and a croak and a shriek. It dripped and it squelched as it strode from the ditch, and it said to Dragon, "That's my witch." Dragon drew back and started to shake, then spluttered.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly.
And Dragon spread out their wings and was off through the sky.
Oh,
Then down flew the bird, and down jumped the frog. Down climbed the cat, and phew, said the dog.
oh, thank you, thank you. Without you, I'd be on a dragon's inside. Come, I'll fill up my cauldron. I said with a grin, everyone, find something and put it within.
So the frog found a lily, the cat found a cone, the bird found a twig, and the dog found a bone. They threw them all in, and the witch stirred them well. And while she was stirring, she muttered a spell.
Iggity, ziggity, zaggity, zoo.
Then out rose a truly magnificent broom with seats for the witch and the cat and the dog, a nest for the bird, and a pool for the frog.
Wow. Oh.
Yes, they cried out, and they all clambered on.
Yes!
The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone.
Everybody bow.
Thank you.
As we're gathering up the Room on the Broom cast, I think we're going to sing again.
Apologies. Yes. Love will guide us. Let's just sink in and sing Love Will Guide Us. As you are able, rise. Words will be on the screen. It's 131 in the Great Hymnal. Love will guide us, peace has ride us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from grief to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Please join me now in saying our words of chalice extinguishing from Reverend Vanessa Titang. Like the flame of this chalice, may the flame in our hearts burn, remaining unextinguished. May it ignite our energies, our drive, our resolve to dream, to build, and live into the world. That good which exists for now, only in our imagination.